welcome to the Experience Beyond podcast. In today's episode, we are unpacking how iconic brands build emotional loyalty, not just with great products or marketing, but through remarkable customer experiences which resonate long after the transaction is done. The theme for today's podcast is Leading with Experience, CX breakthroughs from retail's most beloved brands. I'm Anand Nigam, your host, co-founder and director of XEBO.ai. To dive into this important topic, I'm honored to be joined by Dr. Joseph Michelli, an international speaker, organizational consultant, and one of the most celebrated voices in customer experience today. Joseph holds a PhD in psychology. He's a number one best-selling author on the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and USA Today, and many more, and has worked closely with brands like Starbucks, Ritz-Carlton, Mercedes-Benz, Zappos, Airbnb, and UCLA Health to decode what makes them beloved to customers around the world. His latest book, All Business is Personal, explores how the best leaders create emotionally engaging workplaces and customer journeys, especially in an era which is dominated by data disruption. He's also the founder of Michelli Experience, where he helps organizations go beyond just measuring CX to actually living it through culture, leadership, and frontline empowerment. Joseph, welcome to the Experience Beyond podcast.
Anand, thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here, Joseph. And what a bio you have got. I mean, it's great honor to have you on the Experience Beyond podcast. I'm sure the audiences who will be going through this podcast will get very rich insights and experiences that you are going to share from your journey.
I guess we're going to find out, aren't we, really quickly?
Awesome. Now, you have a PhD in clinical psychology and
I do.
decades of CX leadership. How has your PhD and these experience shaped your understanding of human systems, shaped the way you advise brands on designing emotionally resonant customer experiences?
Well, probably less so than my mom and dad, who told me early on in life that we're not put on this planet to be served, but on this planet to serve. And then certainly in the context of getting a PhD in psychology, I really focused on what do humans need in that service space. And specifically, what is the role our thoughts play? What is the role our emotions play? How do all of the life experiences we have come together? And then how do you affect groups of people who have vastly different thoughts, feelings, and life experiences to share in a goal of delivering quality experiences in a team fashion? So I think that the key element of the psychology goes back to some of your opening comments, which is really understanding that most everything we do is driven by emotion.
Oh, this is awesome. Because I've been doing these podcasts with a lot of guests, a lot of people who have been working in the CX space for a very long time. Usually everyone talks about their experiences with the processes, with the organizations and all. I'm hearing for the first time your experiences, which you have picked up from life experiences, your experience with parents, experience from your upbringing, which have evolved into what you are doing and connecting when it comes to the CX space.
It truly is the place. So if I go back to my very first book, which was written about the Pike Place Fish Market in Seattle, where we throw fish and engage customers. It's not about the throwing of the fish or the operational elements of it. It's that we want every person who comes up to that fish market to feel that they're world famous, that they are important, and we treat them in the way you would treat a VIP or an important person, no matter how ordinary or from non-assuming they might be. And when you treat people as if they are world famous, exciting things happen for them and for your brand.
Oh, that's awesome. And you have consulted, in addition to writing some of the best-selling books, you have consulted companies like Starbucks, Zappos, Airbnb, who are known for the kind of customer experience that they are delivering, the kind of culture they are creating, the kind of operational models that they are creating. Now, what do you think are the common cultural or operational threads that these brands are able to bring that customer-centric culture within the organization?
But bottom line, we're trying to influence people to create experiences for people. That's it. If you look at the different brands you just listed, I mean, Airbnb is nothing more than an online platform, and yet they're trying to get people who are on that platform called hosts to create a belonging experience for people who are on that marketplace called guests. At Starbucks, most of the employees at Starbucks are actual employees of the brand, but some of them really are representatives of food service brands in airports or at supermarkets. The reality is, whether you have a direct employee relationship or whether you're trying to create a marketplace, it's always about influencing people to deliver an emotionally resonant experience that causes the people you serve to want to buy more from you, stick around longer, and tell their friends about the extraordinary experiences they're having with you.
Oh, awesome. And most of the brands, I find them struggling when they are in a very adverse situation, when they are going through a crisis, right? Now, I think you talked about it in your Strong Through Adversity. You talked about how leadership during disruption, how they can actually bring about a change, a kind of cohesion or an opportunity for the organization. So how do you see organizations who are able to turn the moments of adversity into opportunities for deeper customer loyalty and trust? Some examples, some insights would be very helpful here.
Sure. Just if we start with the premise that people really know what you stand for when there is a crisis, the way you behave when things go wrong are certainly more predictive of whether or not I'm going to stick around with you in fair weather times. If you look at it in a Ritz-Carlton sense, for example, Ritz-Carlton seeks to be perfect. They're not going to be perfect. They're going to end up with excellence. They're going to miss the mark on perfection, but hopefully hit the mark on excellence. The difference often is how we handle those moments where we're imperfect. So if there is a breakdown in customer service, how well are you able to do that service recovery? And at a Ritz-Carlton, it's as fundamental as considering every breakdown of Mr. Biv, which really is a mistake, a rework, a variation, those kinds of words that we talk breakdowns, and an imperfection. We're looking to log all those things, be able to teach ourselves how to resolve them in the moment, and then also look at the root cause analysis, asking the 5 whys, if you will, to get underneath to figure out what is really going on. But ultimately, it's empowering the lady or gentleman in the moment to serve the guest in a way that they don't have to think and get approval for. Just do the right thing. And at Ritz-Carlton, it literally means that every employee who works there has a $2,000 per day per guest authority. Now, literally, if I used $2,000 on every guest every day, I would be working at the Four Seasons. They would encourage me to work elsewhere. But the goal isn't the money. The goal is to remove the barrier that enables me as an individual contributor from being able to do what I need to do to solve the problem in real time. From there, I have to go back and look at root causes.
So it's more, $2,000 per person per day is just as an example to showcase, I think, the kind of freedom and kind of delegation that you can give to your employees to actually overcome any situation that they would be facing with a customer.
Absolutely. And the intention is that I'm going to problem solve with you. Is there a less costly way for us to have achieved the same outcome? But that's after the fact. In the moment, I want you not to have to think about the money. I want you to have to think about the solution. And I want to train you to continually be more efficient in the way you make those solutions happen. But I don't want you to have to worry about going and trying to get a manager. You know, at a lot of quick service restaurants, to correct an error that was 25 cents off, somebody has to go get a manager and 5 people have to wait in line, one of which may very well churn, and their lifetime value may very well be, $1,000. We just lost $1,000 out the door because we mistreated a guest who was waiting because we didn't empower the clerk to make that 25-cent offset.
Oh, that's awesome concept, because we always talk about it that a great customer experience is driven by great employee experience, because one feeds into the other. I think empowering the employees is a part of that entire ability to deliver great experiences to your customers. So great concept that you talked about, and you already gave two examples how Ritz-Carlton is empowering its employees as well as Starbucks. Any other examples that stand out?
Sure. Those. I think your point about, linking those two things, and we know that human experience. If you call them an employer, you call them a customer, it's still a human being. And if we don't treat the people inside of a business well, they tend not to execute outside of the business. It's also helping develop experiences for employees that are designed as efficiently as what we design for customers. So how is your selection process? How is your onboarding process? Where are the pain points in that? Does somebody have to fill out 5 times the same application information, or is that being automated to reduce the mind-numbing nature of it? If we're putting employees in positions where they're doing repetitive tasks that do nothing more than suck out their soul, then it's hard for them to really be present for the next guest that's coming in. So leveraging your technologies, designing the human experience for what people we call employees, so that they can help design better experiences for people we call customers.
And this is awesome, because I think I'm a bit digressing from the original script, because employee experience and its connection with the customer experience is something that you have already written about it. You have talked a lot about it. So just a further question on that. You often have talked in your books, in your articles, about relationship between employee engagement and customer delight. Can you share more stories where investing in employees directly transform customer outcomes beyond, couple of examples that you have already shared?
Well, let's start with Zappos, which was purchased by Amazon years ago, and I worked with the great founder of that, Tony Hsieh, rest his soul. Tony really was an advocate of saying that we need to invest in building relationships among team members and giving them a sense of pride about what they can accomplish in each human interaction. So, for example, if you called their contact center, the individuals sitting there are actually called customer loyalty team members. Their job is to build loyalty. Their job is not to answer calls, right? They're in the loyalty business, not in the call answering business. And those individuals are empowered to speak with customers about whatever it is that creates a personal, emotional connection with the customer. And then once that emotional connection is formed, to solve the problem for the customer and then sprinkle some delight on the way out the door. If you're empowered to do that, and if that's your job every day, I am in the delight business. I'm in the wowful experience creation business. I am a customer loyalty team member. It's a heck of a lot different than having lots of call quotas on trying to turn to the next call and just process as many transactions as possible. And that's not to imply that you don't care about quality or you don't care about service speed, but it is to imply that we need to treat people as creators of human experiences and also hold them accountable to performance metrics.
Oh, that's so awesome. I think, is there anything else which actually stands out as much as the employee experience and culture of an organization, which differentiates them from, say, ordinary organizations? So brands which stand out when it comes to delivering customer experiences versus brands which actually don't. Is there anything else that you can think of other than employee experience and the culture that's the big differentiator?
I think you have to hire for it. Not everyone is cut out to serve other human beings. I think once you select for it, you have to build the skill sets that are associated with that. You have to invest in training. You have to give lots of scenario-based work so people can understand what might you do. I think it really enhances the emotional intelligence of the people that you're working with, so that you're building that intelligence on how to process the emotions that you have yourself when customers aren't always nice, but also how do you manage the emotions of customers when they're struggling, or when you're trying to elevate the emotional experience that they're having.
Well, that's awesome. And sorry for digressing from the script. I'll come back to the script. In your latest book, All Business is Personal, it focuses on the balance between human service delivery and technology. You also bring in the technology piece there in this book. With the rise of AI, which we are seeing, hyper-personalization and digital-first interactions, what must companies do today to ensure that CX stays deeply human?
Well, I think it is a balance between the technology and the human. So the technology can give us personal preferences. It can do, as you reference, personalization. It isn't personal. The only thing that can be personal is person to person, and that requires us to leverage our humanity. When I thank you with authenticity, I can do that because I'm a human and I am grateful. When AI, no matter how empathetic it appears, says thank you, I'm fully aware that it is not anything more than code. And so I think we need to leverage that code to manage the big preference patterns of humans and position them well curated experiences. But I also believe we need to have humans available. So the idea of just using chatbots for everything and never having an ability to access a human is, I think, a risk factor for lots of businesses going into the future.
Oh, absolutely. With so much talk going around AI and technology and digital first journeys and all, where brands, organization, they are trying to create do-it-yourself kind of environment for customers to experience everything on their own. I think this element of human, I recently had this call where I was trying to change the flight, United Airlines flight, and I got so frustrated with the entire IVR process. I felt like why I'm dealing with this brand. But once the agent came on, I was so impressed. The speed, the easiness with which he solved the entire situation was fantastic.
And I think there's a point for the convenience. We need to have that convenience and that self-serve. We just need to be able to opt human as well.
Yeah. So IVR and all, it's great. It's do it yourself, but sometimes you get stuck and you don't know where exactly to go. And that's where someone who understands the business and who understands your problem is able to resolve that situation so fast that he can win you back. I was almost lost, frustrated while going through that IVR system. And when this guy comes in, the agent comes in, he sorted everything for me so fast and it was so convenient. I said, oh, great. I had a great experience with United.
Yeah, you can forget. And that's the whole thing about peak end theory. You can have pain early, but if you're able to resolve it long enough before the end, we tend to remember the end, the memorable absence of pain.
Absolutely. And my focus is here that entire need for the humanization part, the personal part that you talked about. Personal is so important. The moment that comes in, because we are at the end of the day dealing with human. So
that's true. And particularly if your people are well trained to handle situations, the last thing you need is to follow up confusing technology with a person who can't help you. So it is a dance and a balance, and that training is critical, and hiring the right people is also important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, thank you. Thank you for sharing these. I think AI is picking up, digitization is picking up, but organizations who are able to use them as enablers and yet utilize the ability of the human power or humanizing the entire customer experience are able to make a big difference to the entire CX journey of their customers.
Absolutely. We've got digital natives who are saying technology is actually making us less socially capable. Technology isn't necessarily always making our lives better. There are certainly situations where it's making us more alone and more isolated. And so all the more reason, I think, for us to think about just strategically positioning some people around to make sure we humanize our brands.
Awesome. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you for your time. I think this brings us to the small context that we had set for this podcast. It actually talks about the whole involvement of the employees, people, because we are in the people's business. It covers that fantastically well. You linked it very well. The need for learning, the involvement of employees, and choosing the employees who are coming with that background and requirement of training and all is very critical in making sure that they are able to deliver great experiences. That's awesome.
Well, thanks for having me, Anand.
I've got another section of our podcast, which is a rapid fire section. So Karishma has given some very trivial questions, I would say that. So
I'm ready to go. Let's go for it. Fast is good.
The first brand that wowed you with its customer experience?
First brand that wowed me with customer experience. Probably a drugstore in my hometown. Yeah, they were amazing.
Awesome. A CX book, not yours. Every reader should read.
Yeah, the experience economy, Gilmore and Pine.
Okay. One word your friends would use to describe you.
Uh, a workaholic.
Nice. And that makes you a writer, a philosopher, a doctor. Maybe that's what is required to be there.
I don't know. I
If
wish I
you
had another word. Go ahead.
if you could have dinner with one business leader, dead or alive, who would it be?
Sam Altman, I'd like to know kind of where he thinks AI is going and really get a peek behind the scenes. I think the future is waiting, and AI is going to really change a lot about the way we do business.
Awesome. I would like to have a date with him as well. Most underrated skill in a CX professional.
I think it is just overall business knowledge. You know, I've developed a master's degree program at Campbellsville University for CX professionals, and we're really trying to anchor this to high performance business metrics because otherwise it gets soft and fluffy pretty quickly.
Okay. Name a brand which you think everyone should study right now.
Kazam Zamir, the jewelry brand that does an incredible job of storytelling. That's a real microscopic brand. Other than that, I would name One Medical, the source behind my book, All Business is Personal. I've consulted for them. They do some real revolutionary things. So I think One Medical is worthy of study. They're owned by Amazon now for $4 billion. So,
wow. That's awesome. Brings us to the end of our rapid fire questions also. It was very powerful conversation with you, Dr. Joseph. So it was awesome from breaking down the emotional core of human loyalty to challenging how we use data in decision making. We talked about both the employees, the human, the personal nature versus the AI, the technology. You reminded what all business, truly a business when it comes to it's people oriented. So it's very critical part of it. In today's episode, I think we got fresh ideas on inspiration. Follow and subscribe this podcast with Dr. Joseph. Hopefully, we'll get more details as we come along. What a powerful conversation with Dr. Joseph Michelli. From breaking down the emotional core of customer loyalty to challenging how we use data in decision making. Joseph reminded us that all business truly is personal. If today's episode gave you fresh ideas on inspiration, don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Experience Beyond podcast for more insights at the intersection of CX, AI, and business transformation. A big thank you again to Joseph for sharing his wisdom and passion for creating world-class experiences. Until next time, I'm Anand Nigam, reminding you to lead with empathy, act with insight, and build experiences that truly matter. See you in the next episode.